Watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com. Opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
She's the Doobie, and this is the show
where we
tote
cannabis
talk
from both sides.
Is that even possible?
This podcast is for adults only, should not be used as a meal replacement, and may contain nuts.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Noobie and the Doobie. My name's Timmy, and I am the Noobie.
Mary Jane, and I'm the Doobie.
And I'm figuring we should probably bring this up right at the beginning of the episode.
You want to address the topic?
What, do you want? Undress the topic?
Well, yeah, kind of. I feel bad for the people that are like listening on podcast format because they have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, if you have chosen to discover us and then to listen to us in podcast form, you're missing out on things like Towel Day.
That's true. It is Towel Day, and you would know that if you could see us.
Right. Now, you are wearing a beautiful, colorful... Did you tie-dye that yourself?
I did not tie-dye this one myself, but it is a tie-dye towel, yes.
Now, I'm sporting the Scooby-Doo towel.
So. Nice. Classically a stoner right? Comedy.
I mean, there is rumors out there. I don't want to listen. Mind you, if you're a kid, you shouldn't be listening to this anyways. But there are rumors that Scooby-Doo and Shaggy were probably consumers.
Definitely Shaggy. Like, what were in those Scooby snacks?
Well, he definitely... Okay, well, definitely Scooby took those Scooby snacks like they were like chocolates, right?
Yeah.
And Shaggy, from every description that you could have of what the typical stoner, stereotypical or not, would be perceived as, that would be Shaggy.
Definitely.
Right?
Yep, for sure.
Now, mind you, I would assume that probably the entire crew was probably not just smoking weed, but probably doing mushrooms or something, because they saw a lot of wacky stuff. And
they did own a van, right? That's classic stoner too, right? They had a van.
Yeah.
They had a dog.
Your whole opinion. You know, I never really thought about that until later on in life, but I mean, that's a show that my son has like almost the entire collection of Scooby-Doo and like the new ones that they created, which aren't nearly as good. But he was a huge Scooby-Doo fan. And not once did I connect those worlds together. But now I look back on it.
You're like,
that would probably change the way I view. Like, were these ghosts and everything
Were
real?
they actually there?
They were. They weren't.
It's kind of like The Simpsons. I remember watching The Simpsons as a child and then watching the same episode as an adult and seeing things in that show that were not there that I did not get, but that's just child to adult. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to bring this up or should bring it up, but I never watched The Simpsons as a child.
Oh. That's showing your age.
I would like to pretend it was because I was sheltered from The Simpsons. But when you said I watched it as a child, I'm like, oh, I didn't even get that opportunity to watch it.
Did they even have televisions when you were a child, Timmy?
All right.
You know what else we're celebrating today? I want to change the topic really quickly.
I don't, because we're sitting here in towels. Look at where my name tag is.
I see the name tag.
This is how dedicated I am.
I can't wait for it to come off later.
Okay, here's the thing. When I put it on, and I'm once again sorry to the podcast people, YouTube, the Noobie and the Doobie. This is where you're gonna have to go. But this is very nicely placed, just north of the nipple, because I'm not an idiot, okay? But I tried to adjust it, and just pulling the corner, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't a good idea, but it's too late now.
It's already on there.
So I can't feel it as long as I don't touch it, but
It will have to come off.
it will have to come off. So
That's true.
might be worth staying around for. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm sorry, Timmy, but as awesome as Towel Day is, we also need to celebrate Fragrance Week. Fragrances are very important.
It was very hard for us to even distinguish between should we celebrate Towel Day or should we celebrate Fragrance Week? And we ultimately decided, let's do both. We'll wear towels and we'll talk about fragrances.
This is true.
Right?
And I might have had a smoke before I came in, so I am fragrant as well.
Might have had a smoke before you came in.
We know I did.
You always have a smoke before you come in.
Yes.
The thing about the fragrances that I find funny, and here's just a personal story, personal interaction between a newbie and a doobie, is you are always so excited when you buy weed to come and show me, show me the weed, but then you crack open the thing and you hold it under my nose, like I like a prisoner being pushed against a wall, just smell it, and her eyes get all big and wide, like it's just like this obsession. Smell it. What do you smell?
They all smell so different.
Well, when you say that though, in my mind I'm like, there's a right answer and a wrong answer, and I got no. And
you give me the wrong answer every time, and it's the same one.
Well, here's the thing. It's the right answer in my mind. Okay, look, if you're a newbie listening right now, you probably can relate to this if you know anybody who's a doobie. And doobies just understand where I'm coming from. When MJ puts that little container thing under my nose, everything in me, and I'm not even making it up, all I can smell is weed.
That's the answer he gives me.
Literally.
Okay, so it's not a newbie answer, because if you ask Tommy Chong what his favorite strain of weed is or what it smells like, he'll give you the same answer. Weed. It's all just weed.
Me and Tommy Chong are pretty much equal in the cannabis space.
Maybe you guys just get it and the rest of us don't. Or maybe you don't get it and the rest of us do.
I prefer to think that me and Tommy Chong actually get it.
Tommy Chong.
Tommy Chong.
Wrong guy, babe.
Tommy Chong. Thomas. If you're listening, Thomas, Mr. Chong, you and I are one. Is that fair to say?
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
It all smells like weed. But you disagree vehemently. You always are surprised that I say that because for some reason you believe they all smell different. Talk to me about that.
I believe in the science. I believe in the science. I actually believe so much in the science that it has to do with our word of the week.
All right. Well, we're going to get to that. Here's what's happening on today's episode. Okay.
What do we have?
We've got a high five list.
Okay. We've also got I'm like, okay, as in you're going to tell me the next thing. Wait, what else do we have?
It's like, I thought you knew because you just said it.
Wait, what do we have? The word of the week.
Wait, did you have a joint before the show?
I might have.
Every once in a while, she says to me, I don't want to feed into the stigmas.
I say, it's never the weed.
It's never the weed. It's never the weed.
It might have been the dab I had after.
Okay.
I didn't say it wasn't the dab.
That's one of my favorite comments, though. It's never the weed. So
always never the weed.
If she loses her car keys,
it's not the weed.
It's never the weed.
No.
But if she loses her car keys, sometimes she'll say to me, "What? It's the weed."
No, I never say that. I never say that. But it is interesting that if I had a really good sleep, I can't technically say that it was the weed because then I'd be going against me saying it's never the weed.
Yeah, it's a dilemma.
But I am forgetful. I forgot that I was supposed to say the next line.
You know who understands? Me and Tommy.
I thought you were going to say Jesus.
Tommy.
Tommy.
What, me, Tommy, and Jesus?
I actually got to meet Tommy Chong and interview him.
Yes.
And on my knees.
Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
You interviewed.
I did.
Now, for a non-consumer, at the time, it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. But for a consumer, a lifelong consumer.
Oh my God. Like I
that's
grew
like
up
me
watching
meeting Alyssa Milano.
I grew up watching Cheech and Chong movies with my dad. Yes. Like it was, oh my God. Yeah. I can't even talk
See,
right
it's
now, but I
speechless.
could talk then.
That's how I feel about meeting Alyssa Milano. I understand. See, if we can get on these, you go, do you know what it'd be like to meet Cheech and Chong? I'm like, no. Although Tommy and I, send me a tweet, Tommy.
I don't know
We'll
if
get
you're
together.
going Alyssa Milano and Tommy Chong.
Well, did you have a crush on Tommy Chong?
Do I have to answer that?
No, but I had a crush on Alyssa Milano.
In the 70s show.
He was in the 70s show?
Yes. He was
Did you
in the
watch that when you
70s
were a
show.
kid too?
No, I was a teenager.
Way too much information is happening here. Okay, so
So what do we have? We have a high five
you
list.
want me to try it again? Want me to start
Yes,
over?
yes.
Okay. All right. I'm Timmy Boyle,
Take
the
two.
Noobie.
No, not that far
Oh,
back.
not that far back?
Okay.
On today's show, coming up, we have the high five list
Word of the week.
and our special guest,
Who is it?
Jacqui Childs.
I'm just kidding. I knew that.
Ba-dum-ching. But before we even get to our guest today, and we're going to do those two other things, I'm very
Yes.
excited Jackie's on the show.
Me too.
She's a super special person. And we want to do a high five list. We want to do our word of the week. And I'm going to go first.
Okay. That's why we said high five list first? Okay.
I think so.
High five.
Sometimes I think they're going to not believe that I'm the newbie.
I can't move very far because I don't
because
want my towel to...
I think there are times where I feel like I come across as the stoned one. I think so. Sometimes people go, that can't be. But that's the thing. That's literally what happened when
We're
I was
trying to crush the
growing
stereotype.
up. When I was growing up, that was the thing. I would go out and I would have these parties with people. I wasn't a big partier, but you would think I was the drunk one in the crowd because I'd be the one be like, whoa, running
Yeah,
around
but that's drunk.
in a towel. But I wasn't. I never drank anything.
Maybe you need to just chill.
I never smoked weed either.
Maybe you just need a little...
There are times when I'm chill and people are like, he's too chill. He must smoke weed.
Maybe you don't need anything.
Maybe that's the thing. That's the point, right? Like maybe do you believe weed is for everybody?
No, I believe that weed is for...
Interesting.
I believe a strain for every pain.
A strain for every pain. So now I just got to figure out what my pain is and go from there.
Right?
I have a little bit, it's in the back, lower back. Sometimes I tweak it.
You just need a better bed.
All right, fair enough. All right, so my high five list today is, it's time for Timmy's high five list. It's a very simple list today.
Okay.
Okay.
What are we doing? What are we talking about today?
It's my top 5 fragrances that I love.
Okay.
That if they were in weed, I might decide to consume.
Okay.
So like these are fragrances, or if you held it to my nose, I'd be like, oh, and I would be able to name it. It wouldn't just smell like weed to me, you know?
Okay.
Okay, so these are my top 5 fragrances that I love.
Okay.
That maybe if they were in weed, I might consume.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1, bacon. Is there weed that smells like bacon? Because if there was, I would at least smell it. Let's just say I would at least smell the weed.
I could make bacon that has weed infused in it.
Interesting. Okay. The number 2 fragrance, okay, for 4. Yeah, that's how we're doing it. 5. The 4th one
Okay.
is mint chocolate chip. I love when I open up a carton of mint chocolate chip ice cream. It is the best thing in the world. Now, I can't do lactose anymore, so I can't eat mint chocolate chip ice cream. But still, the mint chocolate chip fragrance.
The smell.
Oh, love it.
Well, fun fact, there is strains that are ice cream, and there are strains that have mint and chocolate.
Have you ever made me smell one of those?
I think I got you to smell the chocolate Thai stick. Do you remember that? It smelled really chocolatey.
Did it smell like weed?
Probably.
Yeah. Number 3 on my list of fragrances that I love that they should make into weed fragrances. A clean house. My house is clean. And I love a clean house. You know well, everybody knows this, right?
Is it like a lemon smell? Most people use like a lemon cleaner.
You know you just know when you walk into a house and you go, oh, that's not fresh. It's like a freshness.
Are you talking about my house? Because my house always smells like weed.
I feel like we could do that same thing that we do with weed with people's houses. You go to the door, open the door, and go, "What do you smell?" I smell weed.
You know what's so funny? My
And I smell
neighbors,
weed.
literally in the summer, they're like, we can smell your house through, like, it emulates, like, right out the windows and shit.
The number 2 on my list of my favorite fragrances that should be made into weed, omelet. Now, you could put a whole lot of different things in an omelet, but my omelet in particular, when I'm cooking my omelet in the morning, it's a 8-element omelet. And that combination, you can tell me if there's any way to like bring weeds together to create avocado, egg, spinach, tomato, onion, mushrooms, peppers, and Eve's Mexican ground round.
I stand by my first answer. I can infuse it for you.
Okay, all right. Maybe something that we can try on a future episode. And my number 1 fragrance that I love that they should make into weed is fresh cut grass at a baseball park. At a baseball park. Not just, if you've ever gone in April to opening day at a grass field where it's just been cut and you can see the logo cut into the field. There is something about those fresh clippings. Maybe it's just the sense, maybe it's the baseball smell. Maybe there's a smell of actually smelling a glove that's been freshly oiled down and like ready for spring. That's actually a great smell too. So let's go with grass / it's like, okay.
So anything that reminds you of baseball?
Opening day baseball smell.
Can we throw hot dogs in there too?
Yes. Opening day. I might actually try to consume one more time if somebody had handed me a joint that smelt like opening day baseball.
Yeah.
That would be it.
See, I think it would be amazing if you could smoke a joint that made you feel like you were at opening day baseball. That would be cool.
Okay. All right. Tommy, get on that. Tommy and I are close now.
If anybody could do it, it'd be Mr. Chong.
Mr. Chong.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, you said it's so funny. I said Mr. Chong, and I went into Shelby. For some reason, my brain showed me Shelby.
Shelby is.
Oh, Shelby's his wife.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny because when people think of Tommy Chong, they think of Cheech and Chong, and I think of Shelby Chong. Absolutely gorgeous. Like when we did the interview, it was so funny. I was on my knees and I was talking to the guys, and it was super late, and she came in the room, and I'm sure like any woman who's there with their husband doing a show, and she also participates in the show.
Okay.
So it was like 1:30. They were gracious enough to grant me an interview. And she came in and she was very nice, but like, you know, like kind of like, hey, when are we going to the room? Like, I'm tired. Can I get the keys? And it was her birthday like the day before, and I had brought a gift for her. And I literally, like, I couldn't even speak. I started snapping my fingers to the person that was with me, and I was like, give me the box, which was her present. And I'd gifted her a hair straightener from that, like, a friend of mine has a company. And I was speechless. I've never been speechless for any celebrity in my life but Shelby Chong. And I was like, this woman is a goddess. Like, I'm going to go out after this and get it Google and show you who Shelby Chong is, because she's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about the interview. We'll talk about that on another episode. I think. That would be very cool. Yeah. All right. So the fragrances that you said there's science behind it, right? You said you don't understand the science.
Yeah, because you say it all just smells like weed. Yeah. Like one of my favorite smells is lemons.
Okay.
I love lemons. I don't know what it is about lemons that, like you say, makes me feel clean and happy. And this is where I get into the science, because the science behind smells is, our word of the week is terpenes.
Terpenes. The word of the week. Terpenes.
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 Not torpedo or torpedo. Terpenes.
Terpenes.
Terpenes. So what they are they're highly aromatic, and they're responsible for the smell of many different herbs and plants.
Okay.
So, for example.
So not just weed. So terpenes actually.
Oh, it's not just weed.
Okay.
There are over 20,000 different terpenes that are known in existence. 20,000. And 100 of those terpenes, over 100 of them, are in cannabis strains. That's why cannabis is so desirable, because you can get a wide variety of terpenes from one plant. Now, not each strain has the same terpenes. Each one varies depending on what the strain is. So, for example, lemon, which I like, contains limonene. Lavender contains linalool, and pine trees, pinene. So when people say, go for a walk out in nature, it helps relax you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're smelling a lot of these terpenes. Pinene actually has a calming sedative effect. Lemons have been known for years to help with heart health and weight loss and diet and stuff like that. And which is amazing that to me, I resonate to cannabis that have limonene terpene profiles because I need I have stomach issues and stuff. So it's like we're using the cannabis through the terpenes.
So if terpenes are not just a cannabis thing, although I never remember hearing about that in science class, although in school, to be fair, I didn't really pay attention at all.
I don't think we had sinus class.
Okay, all right, fine.
Really do look like a newbie.
The thing is that, so technically, the smell that I get from opening day might be a combination of terpenes.
It absolutely could be. Like when you're saying that the smell of the grass,
Yeah.
fresh cut grass, absolutely.
So then it is possible for somebody to collect those terpenes and create a weed plant. Yes?
No.
No.
You can so you can actually purchase terpenes in its pure form. People have been extracting terpenes from different plants.
Yep.
So that way people then can purchase them and add them to their cannabis to help heighten those terpenes.
Sweet.
Yeah. So there is science behind it.
There we go. And that's it. Listen, if you want to go anywhere to discover science and facts,
YouTube is where to go.
This is definitely not the show, but we'll do our best. So there you go. The word of the week was terpenes. Look that up if you want more information, but terpenes are all around us.
Yeah. And try and identify the things in your life that you really like maybe it is chocolate. Find out what terpenes are in chocolate.
In fact, go on any of our social media at the Noobie and the Doobie and let us know what your favorite terpenes, fragrances per se.
Yeah, or if you like cannabis that has a certain type of terpene, like myrcene or caryophyllene.
Let's do that.
Let us know.
Let's bring in our guest because I'm very excited that she's joining us today. So are you ready for this?
I am. I just want to give a little quote before she comes in here. It's one that I absolutely love that she says. I want to make sure I get it right here. If they don't invite you to their table, build your own and invite them to yours. And I really think she said it very well there because, screw them. I'm going to build my own and you're more than welcome to come or don't come. Either way, I'm going to do me.
So welcome our guest in. Go ahead, do it.
All right. Bring in Jacqui.
Jacqui, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm super.
That's a seamless beginning.
I love it. She's busy as always trying to manage a mogul.
I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you are one of the most, you look busy anyways on Instagram. That would be the way I'd say it. You seem to be taking pictures all over the world, and yet you're nowhere.
Exactly. We can't go anywhere in 13,000 sets. So I can still look like I'm living.
Yeah, there's not been much of that over the last year, right? People, still living, but not traveling.
That's hasn't been a lot of living. No, really, there hasn't been a lot of living. I'm at that point where I'm not having the best time anymore. Thank goodness that I still have my memories in those damn photos.
So I actually want to talk about that. How have you been coping over the last year? I'm assuming cannabis, lots of cannabis.
Yes, that is a great assumption there. I'm writing more. Thank goodness I can still write from wherever I am and whatever's going on in the world. I write for Kind magazine, which is in the cannabis space. And writing, doing a little bit of ghostwriting for other people in the cannabis space and trying to keep busy that way. Putting out old content kind of with new stories added to it. I mean, how I felt about, like I'm posting shoots and things and I talk about my anxiety and just how I felt during that time. And going down memory lane is really what I've been doing the last little over a year.
Has being in lockdown increased the anxiety, or is it just a different type of anxiety?
You know what? Now it's kind of scary because I'm really good at staying home. I'm very comfortable on my own and doing my own thing, and now perhaps too comfortable. Like I'm a little concerned that I've gotten really comfortable at being at home and being by myself and saying no to any sort of offer, even if it's just like drop something, a porch pickup, or we'll be outside, do you want to stop by? I'm weighing the pros and cons of every social interaction. It's a big deal. So is it a good thing? I don't know. I'm getting good at being comfortable on my own.
Well, I have pursued a life where if you saw and could feel my hands, they are super smooth. Like my whole life has been avoiding doing stuff. So this has been a really nice thing.
Yeah, it's been driving me crazy because all of the things that I normally do to like let off some steam, I can't do. Like we used to go to Canada's Wonderland to ride the roller coaster, to scream at the top of my lungs, and I can't do that. So there's a lot of adjustment for me and a lot more cannabis consumption for sure.
I agree. I've been speaking about this a lot lately and a lot of people have wanted to talk about this. I've had 7 years of serious therapy so I can work around my social anxieties and the depression and PTSD. And now we're going into the 14th month of isolation pretty much. And so, the saying no to social events and offers, I don't know how it is going to be when we go back. I'm starting to get offers and things stateside, which I'm still not ready to go yet. But because America is opening up and the hemp and cannabis space is back to work and it is growing season, so a lot of things are happening. I'm not sure. I'm saying no because I'm not ready to travel yet. And our government isn't making it very easy to travel yet. So I'm still saying no, but when I want to say yes, or when it's time to say yes, there's going to be a lot to think about. Like I'm the depression. It's going to be a big deal.
Well, see, I'm a huge fan of doing the things that you want to do, Jacqui. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like I adore you. I just want to say you emulate this don't take no crap from anybody attitude, but in a nice way. I've never seen you actually like go after somebody. You know what I mean? So it's very nice to see that you should be able to say no if you don't want to do something, and people shouldn't hold you against that, And it's nice. Sometimes you do need somebody else to be able to say yes or no. Like I do that for Timmy with his comedy stuff, right? People write in and, ask, how much, can he do this show and whatever. And, Mary Jane responds.
And she says no, and then doesn't realize that I'm not making any money right now. So say yes.
Well, for the right money. I gotta get my cut too.
Yes. I know them. Oh my God. When the world stopped 14 months ago and the calendar just was, everything was canceled and gone. Wow. Was that, I mean, in the past, if you're broke or unemployed, I always think it's a choice. Like it, there's got to be something out there. Well, right now, people that earn their living, I earn my living when there's crowds. If it's somewhere where there's 1,500 plus people, that's, I'm getting paid. Now, nobody can, where are we finding 1,500 plus people? Anywhere, live music and the concerts, events, the conferences, expos, any sort of speaking stuff, as you're well aware of, is all, thank God for cannabis.
Right. Now,
and nice weather. And some nice weather finally.
Have you always been an open book? Like right now, so we're celebrating Towel Day, and so here we are, on YouTube in podcast form. Not that podcast matters in this, but we're wearing towels, and you have jumped aboard to celebrate Towel Day again.
Thank you.
Is that just part of who you've always been?
So I was married for a long time. I have 2 grown children, and no, I wasn't. I was in not a very good relationship, not a very freeing, liberating, no room to grow relationship. And I would never have shown up on a podcast with a towel on. And I wouldn't have shown up to a podcast, actually. Our life was extremely private, and that's how he wanted it. I would have social media, and he would delete it. And, remember Classmates? That was just all a big reconnecting with your high school boyfriend. Oh, yeah. That was obviously not a positive thing. So it's just since Drew and I, my current husband, it's 11 years, that I decided that, who I was before people started telling you no, and you can't, and you're too much, and you're too loud, and you're too, before all that started happening, I was the person that would wear a towel and the person that liked everyone and was fun and interested and curious in the world. And that was all sort of squashed or diminished through that marriage. And now in my current relationship and the way I live my life, every day there's no, nothing's off limits. Our thoughts and feelings are our own to own and to evolve. And it's fun. We love each other. We're our biggest fans. We love what we've created online. That's why when there is a troll or in that negativity, it's full, because we've created a really fun, happy life and really cool people. So it's kind of, it hurts me. I don't get angry. I don't hate. I do not like that word, but there's like that hurt, you get offended, or you get, because I'm used to living that life before that, and I don't want to, just because I'm good at living in trauma and living, with PTSD and stuff doesn't mean I like it. I'm good at it. Doesn't mean I like it. Much like we were saying about the social distancing and isolation and in lockdown and all that, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean it's a good thing.
That's a really interesting story. Excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. Because I too can relate to that. I literally, Jacqui, I changed my name legally because I felt like I had been suppressed for so many years by other people telling me, same thing, why do you talk to strangers? So you sound like an idiot, or, so I stopped talking to people, and that's not me. I'm loud, I am boisterous, I am bubbly, and I was just like, damn it, I'm going to be me. So that's really interesting. And I found that cannabis hugely helps me to step outside of that old self. You know what I mean? Like that tormentor in the back of my brain that is always there, that you kind of just have to push down and say, no, I'm better than this. So I think you're doing a great job at that.
Well, it's the ego and anxiety is loud, and I just have to be louder. When we're not doing something or we're not excited about something, or if I'm afraid to try something outside of the box, that's our ego and our anxiety. So if I can get those two to go away, which also we're been talking a lot about mushrooms, and what better time to experiment with plant medicine and cannabis and mushrooms, and we can't physically go on a trip, but we can mentally
to just like get back to nature and that. See, I'm wondering, Jacqui, have you always been a cannabis consumer, or is this something that happened later on in life?
Oh, no, this is much later on. I'm very, very late to your party.
Okay.
And,
Welcome.
And originally I didn't want to come.
Well, for the record, I don't know if you know that I'm a non-consumer, hence the newbie. So I'm still in your old world, reluctant to come to the party.
I'm trying, Jacqui. I'm trying.
It was my in-laws, actually. They would constantly mention CBD and plant medicine and a holistic approach to things, and what you learned just you're in school or from your parents or whatever, not necessarily right. They memorized the book, they heard it on, they went to where and then this is what was filtered through. So, but I was teacher's pet and born and raised on Nancy Reagan, just say no to drugs, and that's how I raised my children. And so it's been about 4 years that I've been consuming cannabis. Started with CBD, strictly CBD, and juicing the plants, the whole plant, making teas, etc. And now I'm fully immersed in cannabis, head to toe, mind, body, and soul. I grow it, I eat it, I wear it, hemp. We invest in the cannabis space. I spend probably 3 days a week full of this people, and I'm still very much involved with helping Legacy get in past the barriers and the stigmas to be part of where they can actually earn a living, a safe living, and a respectful living, which it's difficult in Canada. It's really we're sticklers on some things, our stigma and barriers, and the cannabis space in Canada is very different than it is globally. That's for sure.
Well, number one, I'd like to say that just based on what I've seen online, and I'd encourage anybody to follow Jacqui Childs. I think you're an incredibly interesting human being, and part of that is your positivity, and part of it is the content. But I was surprised to just hear that you're new to the cannabis party, because it seems like, it's been your whole life. As a newbie, I often get asked, why aren't you smoking? So my question to you would be, like, what was the impetus? Why did you start?
Well, okay, so I have Crohn's, and I was on a lot of serious pharmaceuticals for anxiety, depression, and PTSD. My in-laws constantly were mentioning CBD, and I thought it was snake oil, but I eventually tried it and came around to it, and it helped tremendously in my transfer to pharma-free living. I was removing so many heavy-duty pharmaceuticals that were causing really negative, hurtful, almost worse than what they were prescribed for side effects. I noticed when my Crohn's was, I was in remission, I was feeling a lot better in my head about things, which a lot of us do, I started to celebrate. And by celebrate, I meant I was drinking. I was drinking wine, and I was doing shots, and I was going to cocktail parties, and I didn't want that either. I come from a long line of, I would say, award-winning alcoholics. They still function, they still do very well in life, they're successful, but they drink, and they drink a lot. And drinking is not good for you. Like we say, cannabis heals and alcohol hurts. So I slowly started to smoke joints and try a bong Chong and I love edibles. That's really my way of, because I don't like smoking really. I do smoke, but back to that stereotype and stigma, smoking, is it good for you? I don't think so. I'm not sure if anything in our lungs is good for us. So, I mean, until you convince me otherwise, I'm very careful about what I put in and how I consume. That's why I do prefer edibles. I do prefer to grow my own and then make my own tinctures and rosins and stuff like that. But I was very vocal about the negative parts of cannabis, and the stoners are lazy and you're losers and you're whatever. And really, I was missing out. The biggest stoner, quote unquote, I've ever met in my life is my highly educated, successful, loving, wonderful husband. And he's got the records 8 miles long to prove how immersed in cannabis he is. And he is the most fascinating human. He's a wonderful, intelligent being, and his parents are the same. They also are, they come from a long line of cannabis consumers, and it's just, I changed. I was wrong. I was wrong. So, and I say that to a lot of the legacy people as well. Like, there's a lot of, they're like, oh, I've never heard of this Jacqui Childs, and where the hell did she come from? And how come she's winning the awards, or she's all of a sudden speaking for us? Well, I was wrong. You were right. I was drunk and abusing pharmaceuticals, and you're right. That's it. That's where we're at. My apologies.
I really feel like it shouldn't matter when somebody comes into the cannabis space. I've really only been standing up for injustices, we'll say, in the cannabis space since, we'll say, 2014. I went to 420, and it was that 420 that I was like, enough is enough. I need to be the voice. And I accepted my destiny, we'll say, and like, I love baking. So I was like, how do I include this into me, into my personality? So Mary Jane Baker was born. Like, it doesn't matter when you come. We should welcome you with open arms and say, yes, cannabis has touched another soul. It's brought another person into a better life. And by doing so, how many people have you been able to reach out to? That's the way I look at it.
Which I wish more of us did look, if the cannabis community or cannabis culture, if we think of it as an industry, or it's a industry. It's a very cutthroat, really backstabbing, kind of scary. I think it's because cannabis has, always been in the dark. And literally, and you get it from your Chad in the dark corner or the back alley, and so now that it is, it's legalized, and it's being legalized everywhere in the world, and we're trying to, we're coming out as moms who smoke, and the women in weed, and just what we're doing around the world, trying to normalize and end the stigma. I think that there's still that heavy, looking over your shoulder, and mine is the best, and I was first, and that there's so much of that in this space. Like, I get really excited when I'm on Twitter and someone congratulates someone else on their first grow or their license or whatever. I spread that and retweet that and share the crap out of that, because I see so little people excited for each other.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's big business. There's a lot of money to be made, and that's where the divide between community, culture, and industry, right? Because as soon as you mentioned it's industry, it's big money, it's big business to be had. That's where the divide is, and there'll always be that divide. Unfortunately,
I grew up in the church, so my story is a religious background. Cannabis was, what do we call it? The devil's grass, devil's weed,
lettuce,
devil's lettuce. And so,
or
grass,
Noobie.
So I grew up in this community that was always seemed so close knit, and people would often say, it doesn't even matter what the belief system is, that religion brings this community together. But the more I had gotten into it, as with any culture, I would see, the ugly underbelly, and in my transition and journey through faith, and that's a whole different story.
when I first was exposed to the cannabis industry, I had these everything looks amazing image. I'm like, oh, this is a real community. Everybody's so happy and connected. But even in just the 2 years that MJ and I have been together and I've been seeing her world.
I do try and keep him a little bit sheltered. I just want to say, like, I try and surround myself with good people.
It's true. Yeah, she does a good job with that. But what you're saying there, I've even began to see is that in any world, there is this, you would like to think everybody was on the same page, and yet there's this ugliness that is still happening within the cannabis community. You would think it would be, you know, we're such a small group and we've been trying to fight for legalization. Let's stay together. And that doesn't seem to be there as much as I thought it was.
That's the worst, is legacy versus legal. For some reason, legacy people look down on the legal market like they're sellouts. And the legal market looks down on the legacy market like they don't deserve to be in the legal market.
It's sad.
So I'm really happy, Jacqui, that you're finding people, like, ways to help the legacy into the legal, because, oh my God.
Which we all want the same thing. We're all asking for the same thing. You know, both sides, all sides are if there was a way, like, I mean, I'm watching, you know, when we're watching the Indigenous people and they have all their meetings and they're trying to come, you know, treaty agreements, and we're trying to get their land and do it, and they're going back through that. It's almost like we have to do that within the cannabis space. You have to, like, take it all back. Okay, who planted the very first seed? Where was it? Now let's go from there and try, you know, like, there has to be a way to sort all of this out, because we're really all saying the same thing, all wanting the same thing.
Yeah, more weed.
And yeah, exactly.
We just want more options.
I will say, whether I'm supposed to say it or not, whatever side I am, I don't like paying tax when I buy cannabis.
Fair enough.
I don't care. That's my husband's Jewish.
No, tax is okay, Jacqui, but not when it's taxed with the excise tax on top of the tax. Like, we're being double taxed here. That's wrong.
I don't want taxes on my cannabis. Also, I'm in the cannabis space. I've come to it as a medical patient. I have my prescription and whatever. It's taxes on my medicine. It's very expensive, very expensive. That is why I began growing my own a few summers ago and really got involved with. I have a designated grower, and I grow a couple places throughout Canada. And that's another thing. Is cannabis legal or is it not? Like, where are we? What? And it was deemed essential during all of this. My son is, my son is a bud tender, and he works at, woo, look at that, you guys. Are you charging for this?
Wardrobe
We're going to
malfunction.
OnlyFans very soon.
There we go. I got that. You can send I should have a live feed to the OnlyFans. Yeah, there's cannabis, the space, the community. It's just, I have such a love-hate with it, because on one hand, cannabis has not only changed my life, but saved my life. It has changed my relationships with, you know, humanity, the people I love and hold dear. The way I look at the world and the evolution of us and the world, things would I have protested 4 years ago? My best friend's Jamaican and my girlfriend is Indigenous. Would I have ever been at protests and marching and on bended knee? No freaking way. 4 years ago, no way. I would have been drinking my wine, shopping online, talking about what a bunch of stinky losers you were.
Right? And what sounds like the better life? She's sitting there in a beautiful background, wearing a wicked awesome hat,
and
wearing rose-colored glasses, just chilling, smoking a joint.
Exactly. Now I keep to myself, mind my business. I'm in my garden. I'm appreciative of everything. I'm thankful for it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. There's so many lessons in this space. And at this time that we're in, this great pause, this reset, we've got to be learning a lot. I'm seeing that we're all pounding our chests and kicking and screaming. But again, I hear we're saying mostly the same things. We're all wanting the same thing.
Well, is it wrong that I keep looking at the news every day and going, please let this last another week? I mean, Is that bad?
You just want a gig or two, right?
Yeah, just give me
exactly that. There you go. Like if I could work a little, that would be phenomenal. But being to stay, I mean, my son says it's our last year together. He's, going off to live on his own and whatever, and getting more time with my husband. And we're working on other things. And there's stuff on the website and there's writing that has been sitting there forever. It's given us a lot of time to do all that. But I don't know. And what happens? Do they just say, okay, everyone go, lockdown's over, shutdown's over, go party? Or what do we do?
Yeah.
Drew keeps saying it's going to be the roaring 20s or 2020s.
I absolutely agree. And as a live performer, a lot of people are saying comedy's going to now find this whole new world in the virtual realm. I disagree completely. I think that when this is over and when the fear subsides, because I think there's going to be a moment between the government saying it's all safe and the population in general saying we now trust it to be safe. But once that happens, if I can hang out a little bit longer, the live comedy scene is going to explode. Theater's going to come back. It's going to be a pretty amazing time.
Well, I think people are already sick and tired of being in front of the computer. Like, what did you say? Even offices are saying, we're not going to do the meeting this week. We're just done. We want to. It's nice outside too, right? So we're just done.
I'm done. I feed off the energy, and I think it also I work with it. Like my anxiety when I'm in a crowd and I have to speak, and then I'm at events. I need that energy, even if even when I'm sort of scared. That's sort of like my spark to just sort of go through and stand up taller and smile brighter and project. It's really hard on a screen like we're doing right now and that we've been doing for over a year to relate to the audience, to feel from the audience. We're talking over one another. We're in these little square boxes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm staring at myself the whole time. I'm fixing my hair, I'm checking my makeup, and no matter what is on the other end, I can't seem to get past that. And I'm done. I want to be around some human energy, good or bad. I'm ready to, for what the content I create and the life we've created because of that, I need the human interaction. I have to be around you jokers.
Yeah, see, I'm right there with you, Jacqui. I'll leave Timmy at home and I'm coming to see you.
No, I want to come and see her.
We're out. I'm like, gone.
I want to visit you as well, Jacqui.
Anytime, for sure. Anytime.
I do have a question, though, just stepping back a little bit, because we've discovered there's a lot of people who are surprised that MJ and I can have a really good relationship and she's a consumer and I'm not. So we get a lot of raised eyebrows. But we've also met people who are in this situation, few and far between. Your initial journey was that, right? You were married to Drew for what, 7 years? Explain that story.
Yeah. So we were together, but it was probably just over 7 years before I started consuming cannabis. And I would drink wine like other people or nothing at all. He would spend a lot of time outside, though, by himself. Like, he would barbecue and smoke a joint. He'd cut the grass and be in the garden and smoking a joint. He would roll a joint, and take forever outside on the deck by himself. I noticed we spent a lot of time together but separate because he was a cannabis consumer. And he would go outside, so at concerts and venues, events, he would go outside and meet all kinds of people and tell me how great everyone was and who he met, and so-and-so's just had a baby and whatever, while they're all talking out at smokers or whatever it was. And I'm inside. So that was, that was noted. We both noted that I would do girls' weekends at the winery and he would go on a fishing trip or do whatever, and there would be smoking weed. And then once I started consuming, we did it together. I mean, we sit outside and barbecue together. We eat outside because he wants to smoke a joint. We go for walks, things that we were always in the gym. He's a gym owner. So we were always inside. And once I started smoking cannabis, we ended up going for walks together outside and going for hikes and planning trips around being outside. Also, we went to Amsterdam to immerse myself in it fully, and we went to mushroom school, and we did Cannabis 101, and like at Jamaica, same thing. We toured farms and gardens, and our first trip to Jamaica, we didn't do that. We went to some craft markets and we ate some jerk chicken and we laid on the beach. The second time we went to school and we went to farms and we learned all about the culture, and I learned how to do, I think it's called a chillum or something. I don't know. I learned, like, it's really, really cool. So his approach was really good. He made it educational and interesting, and then he would constantly throw out like celebrities that are smoking weed. Like if he heard or saw someone, they posted so and so getting out of her car with a joint or something, he'd send it to me right away. It's like, it's not all bad, Jacqui. Like there's normal people that are smoking weed too. So it's and then I talk a lot about the edibles, right? Which edibles did for our relationship. And I brag about it. What two people that love each other come together at any stage of life, and then add some cannabis to that, let go of your inhibitions. You're just more in tune to each other. Your voices, you set in this where it's just you and nothing and nobody else. I mean, as a mom in my late 40s, I got a lot on my mind. I've got bills and dishes and pets and distress. When I have an edible, 7 or 8 o'clock, we go to bed at 9 or 10, it's just him and I. That's our world and nothing else. And that's I've been missing out. A lot of us are missing out there, Tim.
All right. Well, you've convinced me. I'll start consuming. Way to go, Jacqui.
Just before bed, right?
Well, that's very cool.
I don't know if it's because of religious reasons or it's just the way it was, right? So I would stand up and say, when I first would speak publicly about my journey to the plant, I would start with an apology. I'm sorry, I was wrong. How I was brought up and what I was taught, what I truly believed was wrong. There we go.
Well, see, Timmy's problem is the THC. Because you have tried consuming cannabis, but I gave him
3 times
some Bruce Banner number 3, which is it was like 26% THC. That's what they said it was. But anyways, he did not do very good at bowling, and ever since then has sworn off.
I'm not sacrificing my bowling score, Jacqui. There's certain things that are sacred. It is not religious reasons. It is my bowling score. That is my choice.
It's true.
So maybe a lower THC, or try a different strain, try a different way to consume. I don't smoke a lot because of that way. I like and even a 5-10 milligram, like that sounds funny to me, but a 5-10 milligram edible. Do you drink or do you not even drink?
Water.
See, Jacqui,
You're a ball of fun.
5 milligrams. Oh, he's all fun, all on his own. We don't need to add anything.
Yeah, that was my theory growing up. Everybody was, so even though I had the religious, probably not wrong information as well included in that, I had zero desire to drink or to do drugs or doing that, because I could go to any party, any small gathering, and be the life of the party and actually remember it the next day. And people be like, they didn't even want to offer me anything lest it might take away my funniness. What if I turned not funny, right? So I never needed it to come out of my shell. So it was never, but then there's also people who need it to chill. But I think I've always been kind of balanced. And so I haven't thought about it either way.
Jacqui, I would like to give Timmy a test, 1 ml of CBD every day for a month, and see how he feels.
And just, why don't you do that? Why don't you do a little experiment or you've got all this time on your hands.
Right? Yeah. Oh, well, no, I'm willing. We've talked about different experiments that we'd like to try on this podcast because we think that we can build an audience just because of my presence on it, because I'm awesome, but because also being the newbie, is that most cannabis entertainment vehicles are cannabis people talking to cannabis people. And so what we wanted was to hopefully build an audience where I could take some of these experiments and say, what would happen if I did this for a month? What would happen if she stopped for a month? That would be
I'm not a fan of that test.
I'm actually not a fan of that either, because I've seen...
After this morning? No, I guess not.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen the dark side.
Excuse me. When you're allowed, you have to go to Vegas and check out the cannabis scene in Vegas. You take them to some dispensaries and whatever. And if it doesn't change your mind about cannabis, or it will definitely pique your interest a little more. The way they've packaged things and the way they brand and sell things and the education behind it. If you like museums, which I love, art galleries and museums, the cannabis industry and the cannabis community in Vegas is like nothing it's unbelievable. It's expensive, but it is unbelievable.
Well, I am currently, well, I guess it's been a while now, but so I'm firmly in a world now where I am anything goes, other than, I have no desire to go to jail. I mean, I'm way too pretty for that. But aside from the legal things, I'm ready to go, so you throw some challenges my way, Jacqui.
Yeah, I never waited for legalities to do anything, or else I wouldn't have been consuming cannabis for years,
felon.
right?
He's a felon.
So that's like Drew. I think he said he was 14 the first time. And I'm sure in high school, I'm positive I've got some boyfriend somewhere saying, she smoked a joint with me. I'm sure I tried a bunch of times. I've never inhaled or anything. I didn't know what I was doing. And
She sounds like
I don't
a
know.
president.
I remember those.
I put it in my lips, but I didn't inhale.
But I did have sexual relations with.
What? No. My ears.
Probably a cigar.
We got to wrap this up because.
Yes, I just want to say thank you for your time, Jacqui. I know you're super busy, and this has run a little bit longer.
Well, I did have one other question. You might want to have something else, but when I was in the church and I went into comedy, there was this distinction between are you a Christian comedian? And I always preferred to say that I am a comedian who happens to be Christian. So my question to you is, as a, well, at least it's according to Instagram, I see model photos, and we've talked already about, I mean, your modeling images are some of the most amazing eclectic group. I am going to show my versions of many of your poses and modeling scenarios because they're absolutely phenomenal. But would you consider yourself a cannabis model, or are you a model who happens to do cannabis?
That's a good question. First of all, thank you for the compliment, and knock yourself out on all those poses.
I'll tag you.
I'll be sure to share on my socials. Maybe we'll start you an OnlyFans.
All right. Okay. The world has begun.
As I am aging, like us all, the model is a really sticky word for me, like influencer is for some. So I would say I am a former model that consumes cannabis. So I'm not a cannabis model because I don't do all, I don't really incorporate cannabis in my shoots, like on my professional level, and in my work, my art doesn't usually, I will have consumed cannabis or mushrooms or something for most of it, but it's not really highlighted. And unfortunately, that is strategic right now anyway, because of compliance and the rules and regulations around cannabis. It's very, very hard to show something I put hours of work and time and money into when the plant is still so villainized everywhere. Like, so for certain magazines or advertisements, brands and sponsors that work with me, it's really, really hard to blatantly put it out there. I do every once in a while, and then it's met with, it's shadow banned or restricted or reported, or it can't be monetized. So I'm more of a model that consumes cannabis, not a cannabis model.
Well, I would like to say that we've posted, we had 3 TikTok accounts when we tried, like we got the Noobie and the Doobie for all of the social platforms. And we've tried 3 different TikTok accounts with various naming and stuff. And we were getting 0 views, like not even 1 or 2. Like organically, it wasn't moving at all.
Because it was cannabis related.
Because there was something cannabis. So we created another one, and it's just called Timmy and MJ. It just says podcast. And we put 1 video up where we're not talking about cannabis at all. And we got 20,000 views already. So it shows you, like they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, which is a shame.
No, they don't. It's really, and they don't want to talk about it. Just like we say, I know Mary Jane, like, free the nipple and all. Like, there's so much stuff going on online.
Free the nipple, do it.
No.
Free the nipple. We want
like the natural progression of things, like where we're at. Like, cannabis is not. They try and crush it. They try and keep it down. I mean, like a lot of things right now. When we're going through the Trump situation, and as like just the heavy racial tensions in the world. Social media is not our friends. It used to be a fun place where I was just wild and crazy, and now it's like, it's you're stepping on bombs all over the place on social media. Twitter is the ugliest. Oof.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought Twitter was where you go to complain about companies that like threw your burger together all like crappily or something.
It's how you get stuff done.
My friends do send me their complaints. If someone hasn't returned something for them, they'll send me and then I put it up on Twitter for them. So
well, people
complain on Twitter.
You have inspired me to really consider dropping social media, just going on to OnlyFans and saying, look, I'm done worrying about what to post, worrying about being me, and just go on there. And if you want it, pay me something for it.
Yeah, exactly. For real. Like, if it's worth something, if it's something you want to support, it's a message you want to relate to or something you enjoy. I'm an artist, just like you, then you're going to have to support the content, because all this regulations and within compliance, and it's just a mess. I'm done with it.
I agree. I actually started an OnlyFans page, and I think I'm going to be starting a show or a segment on there called
Good for you. Don't put that out there. Trademark that.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. Edit that out.
You cut that out.
I'm going to have MJ.
See, I give everybody everything for free.
I'm going to give MJ the final word, because I know how much she loves and respects you, but I do want to acknowledge it has been an absolute pleasure following you online. I know I've met you once at a really bad comedy show.
That my husband stood up and yelled at everyone.
That was him. That was fucking awesome.
That was good.
I was like, that was the smartest fucking dude.
You made me right then and there say that's a couple I'd like to hang out with. But I just hope you continue, whether it's through cannabis or just through your own positive spirit, that you continue to stay well, stay happy throughout this time. And I do look forward to getting a chance to meet you in person. But MJ, you got the final words on this one.
Okay, so I love you. I think you know that. Much like everybody else. Well, everybody should love you. Anyways, so the one time that I will say that I realized that you and Drew were the couple that I wanted to chill with was at one of many events that we went to. And I was fortunate enough to be sitting, eating, and you and Drew had come over. And it was like a very quiet moment where you got to sit and just breathe and be you. And I know that feeling because people expect so much from you. And it's not that you're being fake. it's just, it takes a lot of energy to be on all the time. So it was really nice that I got to see you and Drew just interacting as you guys. And that's when I knew that you were actually not like those snobby people that are like, you know, when people are like, Jacqui Childs, I'm like, fuck you, you don't know her. That's why you think that way. So just saying.
There's such a massive misconception. First of all, thank you very much for having me, and thanks for allowing me to share some time with you guys. And this is really exciting, and good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
Really fun. I like that you're doing it together. Yeah, I am really misunderstood. That should be like if my next tattoo or my next book or whatever, really misunderstood. So, but thank you for, I mean, I know you've said a lot in private, like when they say, you know, how people think about or stick up for it. I know you've had to defend my name or throw some positive light there a bunch of times. So thank you very, very much, and I appreciate it. And I hope you guys will have me back. And I look forward to sharing space and time when we actually can.
Of course. I always try and be somebody's ray of sunshine. So I'm happy to be that for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope you remember your cushion. What was his name?
Yes, Gary. I do.
You still have him? I have one now too.
Okay, so Gary, I don't want to give out too much information, but Gary has met somebody and he's had some really important things happen in his life, but because of quarantine, he can't announce anything yet. So stay tuned.
I'll stay tuned to find out what Gary's up to.
Well, thank you for coming, Jacqui.
Thank you, Jacqui.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Be well.
Well, that was amazing.
That was great.
She's lounging. She's just lounging away, and these headphones need to come off.
I know. It looked awesome there. I was like, I could so go for that right now.
She looked like she was like in the witness protection program.
A little bit. The background looked almost too good to be true, but then she was like smoking the joint.
Probably green screened.
And as soon as she lit her joint, and I was like, I want to go outside.
She looks chill though. Like, and here's the thing: you know more about her because you've interacted with her more. I only met her once, like I mentioned, at that really bad show. But like you said, she gives off these vibes, and I know that there are just people in this world who want to immediately think the worst of other human beings. Like people's default sometimes is to just rip somebody else apart, especially if they're doing well in life, successful, whatever it may be. And all I have gathered from what I have heard and what I've seen is somebody who is really just trying their best to be them, now here's the thing too, she's confident in who she is now. Mm-hmm. And there's
that wasn't always the case.
Right. And there's a lot of people in this world that aren't confident in who they are. And those are usually the people who tear down, right? Because they haven't gained enough self-confidence. Because I see somebody who is just trying to be themselves and share their truth, share their life, share their story, share their love. And I mean, I like her. So I'm gonna put that on record.
Well, I mean, like I said during the podcast, like while she was here, anybody who has something like negative, and this is my opinion, anybody who has anything negative to say about Jacqui has never actually spent the time to have a conversation with her. And like I've had multiple conversations with Jacqui, and it's not like we're like best friends and we chat all the time. I know her through the industry, and she's always given me the time to chat, to stop, to be personable, to actually, like I said, like a true human being, not just when you see celebrities, you're like, oh, okay, you're, like that person's just,
Well, for us to be so early in our podcast journey, to have her come on so early in that, there's a lot of people out there who'd be like, let's wait till you make a name for yourself and then we'll come in. And
absolutely, Jacqui's a huge deal.
It was, no.
And to be,
I'm sure she would probably say no, but
I don't know. She's being very humble if she does.
I'm a huge deal, so.
And we know how humble you are.
Right.
Yes.
Anyways, it was good. So what did we learn? Let's just try to wrap it up. What did we learn from that conversation?
I learned that her story is very like I can relate to it because I have a lot of similarities. Even though like we didn't touch very much on it because we're a cannabis podcast, and she did mention mushrooms with like psychedelics and stuff. That is also a part of my journey that I've been toying with because of my PMDD that I suffer from, and you and I have discussed that as well. But it's so, I learned that somebody who you think that, is got it all together may not actually have it all together and is found ways to keep it from quote unquote falling apart. Do you know what I mean? So it's just nice that she's sharing her story.
Well, I've learned that there are people out there who are willing to grow and to change, and she's one of those people. And it's those people like that I'm always looking for, because I feel like I'm in that stage of life, and I think I've always felt the need to grow and to be challenged. But I've learned that there's others out there, and it's interesting how, as we talked about her similarities to your story and her relationship with her husband's similarity to our story, and her story and my story, even barring little differences. It's amazing.
It was fairly similar too.
Yeah,
I mean, if you become a consumer, it would be even more.
If I become a consumer and do the same modeling photos that Jacqui does, it's like,
oh my God.
Yeah. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
Does that mean that
God?
I think that literally means that we
You're
become.
one?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's some sort of weird.
I don't think that's how it works, Timmy.
Well, we'll test it.
Okay.
We'll test it.
We'll see.
All right. Cool. Well, let's wrap this one up then, shall we?
All right. Another one in the books.
Well, that was Jacqui Childs, and I'm Timmy Boyle.
And I'm Mary Jane Baker. Stay lifted.
And keep on laughing.
Watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com. Harlequin is an ultra-diverse combo hybrid that is brimming with all sorts of superpowers. Boasting a really high CBD level, around 1 to 15%, which is a clear indicator of its medicinal abilities. It is also why this strain is a favorite among doctors who are looking to prescribe something potent for the fight against chronic pain. Cherry OG is appealing to users with a strong sweet tooth. It is cherry flavored with hints of ripe strawberries and a subtle tinge of sour diesel that entices the palate. But that is not all. The potent strain contains THC levels between 19% to 22% and is a perfectly balanced hybrid with equal parts sativa and indica.
Thank you for watching A Bud Break, here on CBG TV.
Announcing CBG TV's Bud Break book. Get your copy now. Detailed strain reviews. Every purchase supports the ongoing efforts of CBG TV. Available from Amazon and at cbgtv.com or scan the QR code. Cannabis infotainment that includes patient stories, discussions, the news, and more. Live event coverage promotes your event and those who support you. Tune in and subscribe today. CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com. Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at CBG TV.